Welcome to Toni Unleashed, the podcast where we unleash the truth about all things pets.
Our research and anecdotal evidence matched with pet expert interviews will help you help your pet thrive.
We are here to answer questions, divulge information, and spread awareness about what's really going on in the world of pets.
I am your co-host, Emily Taylor, pet nutrition enthusiast.
And I'm Toni Shalasky, owner of Healthy Pet Products with 3 locations in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area, and recently expanded to Port Charlotte, Florida. Welcome to the show. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Toni Unleashed. Welcome back, all of our paw-loving friends. Today, we're going to talk about dental health care for dogs and for cats, of course. February is Pet Dental Month, and there will be a lot of dental products on sale at our store this month for our listeners to buy and try at home. In addition, we plan to debunk the myth that kibble cleans teeth, discuss the dangers of gingivitis and plaque, and discuss gum and teeth maintenance.
Just to start off, Toni, do you do any dental maintenance for your dogs? Because I sure as hell don't.
No, I don't own a toothbrush. Or maybe I do own one that's in their bin of random shit but I don't brush my dog's teeth. I never have. And to be honest with you, I probably never will.
Yeah. I really respect and admire those pet owners that are like, every night we have our little treat and then we brush our teeth and then we have our chamomile tea together and we go to sleep.
After we put our jammies on, our matching jammies.
I want to grow up and be that person. That sounds so peaceful, relaxing. You can fit in, cleaning your dog's mouth every night. I want to be you.
My idea of cleaning my dog's teeth is giving them a bone. So raw bone.
We're going to talk about all of this. This is really exciting. I really look forward to discussing this topic because I cannot wait to spread the word that kibble does not clean your cat or dog's teeth. And people are so surprised by this every single time. The amount of people who are like, well, don't I need to feed kibble so that my dog's teeth can be cleaned? Not necessarily, not really. When I first started working at Healthy Pet Products, it was kind of described to me as like just eating pretzels or bread and without brushing your teeth and how that might feel.
Well, exactly. I mean, everybody that eats pretzels or potato chips think about what happens. Mm-hmm. It sticks up in your gum line. You've got to get a toothpick. You got to use your finger and you got to pick all that shit out. Yeah. It's a starch and that turns to sugar and that's where your tartar starts.
Yeah. So at the very beginning of all of this, dogs squeeze 42 teeth in their mouth while cats have 30. That is a lot of teeth. Especially when you think about those little chihuahuas and those little Yorkies with those tiny little heads and squeezing 42 freaking teeth in their mouths. Pomeranians have the tiniest little mouths I've ever seen and they still have 42 teeth. The follow-up to that is that kibble is not chemically designed to clean or scrape off any plaque or tartar. Also, dogs' jaws only open up and down. They do not like grind or move side to side like human jaws do. Like they don't have that mandible accessibility to really grind and chew intensely like we do. So therefore, if your dog chews on kibble, and even if your dog does chew on kibble, the bites hardly make contact with some of the teeth, if any. So many dogs we hear just scarf kibble down as well and just chew it, or don't chew it, just like inhale it almost. So there may be chewing like 5 or 6 pieces of kibble in a whole mouthful. Also, kibble has a lot of carbs and starch in it, and they need that to bind together to create the kibble form. So any kibble you have is going to have carbs and starch.
Yeah. You can't make kibble without it. Just like in baking, you have to have a starch. Mm-hmm. That's your binder. Mm-hmm. So,
and that's all leading to sugar and contributing factors to plaque and tartar. Regarding feeding your animals in dental health, we typically mention that the benefit of feeding raw food. And that is that raw food helps reabsorb those enzymes from meat to help prevent the buildup. And raw food also has fewer carbs, starches, and sugars in general. It also has high moisture content, what helps with digestion. And when you have a really good digestive tract and a digestive system and a good You then have a good immune system, which means you have better breath and better dental health.
Well, that's one of the first objections. Well, how can I switch to raw food? How am I going to clean my dog's teeth? Because we have been trained to think through marketing,
right,
and the veterinary industry that kibble cleans teeth. So we're here to tell you, we probably said it 6 times already, and we're only 5 minutes in on this podcast, but kibble does not clean teeth.
Right.
None of it.
Right.
Even the Hill Science diet that is for dental health, and I think they make treats that are called dental health that are bigger, harder treats.
Mm-hmm.
These do not clean teeth.
Mm-mm. I mean, think about your own teeth and how rigorously you have to floss, and how, brushing your teeth takes time, and you want to get the front, you want to get the back behind your teeth, you want to get the back of your mouth by your molars, the front sides, you want to massage your gums a little bit. I mean, that all takes work, and dogs aren't doing that.
Right.
Kibble's sure as hell not doing that.
Right. So 80% of dogs and about 70% of cats have some type of dental disease. Healthy gums should be pink, like the color of a shrimp, while unhealthy gums will appear more red or inflamed, or even the opposite sometimes. Sometimes they can be a little pale. If they do look pale, this is a possibility for dehydration or even anemia. But typically they're going to be red or inflamed, or when they do chew something, you're going to see some blood.
Mm-hmm.
So that is definitely the sign of poor dental health, or even gingivitis, which is caused by plaque, which is composed mainly of bacteria. So plaque can accumulate on the tooth surface, especially in that space underneath that gum line. Gingivitis is also caused by the body's oral immune system reacting to the plaque bacteria on the teeth. So then we have the problem of bad breath. So a lot of times bad breath can come from the gut and not the mouth. So what
do you want to talk about real quick?
Sure.
We talked about this a little bit last week when we had a recorded podcast, but just so our listeners now can hear it as well, how digestion starts in the mouth.
Oh, yeah. I mean, digestion starts at the entry point and ends at the exit point. I know that sounds a little vulgar, but truly, your digestive system is from the beginning to the very end.
Mm-hmm.
So we have enzymes in our saliva that start to break down foods in our mouth. So that's why not having extra bacteria coming from plaque and tartar already in the mouth will automatically improve a dog or a cat's digestive system in general. So it is important to start early and get these dogs and cats chewing on bones, eating bones. Kibble long term without brushing or chewing, I mean, it just has so many negative effects. And before we dive into some solutions, some general maintenance, it's essential to remember that some smaller and larger breed dogs might have a genetic predisposition to gum or dental problems. Some may need medical attention at some point along the way, as well as more care than is typical. Like Yorkies are notorious for bad teeth. So the things that we're going to start talking about are things that you can use with dogs and most of them with cats, but it may not be the end all be all, I guess is the main point here.
I don't know if many people realize either that you can top your dog's meal off with a little bit of parsley to kind of freshen that breath up with like a more immediate, a less invasive approach too.
Yeah.
That's one way to like get a little fresh breath. Also, even just something as simple as rubbing some coconut oil along the gum line and around the teeth, just even with your finger, not so much a brushing action, but coconut oil is really nice. It's antibacterial, antifungal, and massaging that into the gum line is going to be really, really beneficial. And actually, something as simple as that can make a huge effect long term and a huge difference long term.
Yep.
Some other solutions to preventing dental issues and or helping fix any other current dental problems without a huge vet bill is that if we believe that poor gut health is one of the most significant contributing factors to bad breath, we should then add a minimum digestive enzymes, prebiotics, probiotics, and help heal the gut along with potential food changes. So we're talking about, strengthening that gut, that which is going to transition into another episode later, but healing our dogs from the inside out.
Yep.
And, their teeth and their mouths are a reflection of how healthy your dog and how healthy humans are too.
Right. And it's not hard. I mean, we have one product that has probiotics, prebiotics, and digestive enzymes, or some other products that we're going to talk about more. But it's not hard, but it is something that we have to maintain so that you can avoid having to have surgery or put your dog or cat under, so that a dentist can go in and scale the teeth and clean the teeth and pull any rotten teeth. So that's the main goal.
They make, even something like having your dog chew on coconuts, with that kind of hair. Can also really help and almost act as like a floss or massage. Adding more fresh food and less sugar and starches to your dog's diet, and allow those enzymes to be, reabsorbed into the bloodstream and, utilized to help clean off that plaque and that bacteria. Also, even increasing salivation production is also can be really beneficial, like licky mats or like, licking on something frozen and increasing that salivation production can also help kind of clean up the teeth.
Right. Especially on the canines, I feel like with all of the dogs I've ever had, they've never had to have a dental, because I think most of our listeners know now that I feed totally raw and have for 20 years, but most of my dogs, Meg excluded, but that's another story with her teeth. They really don't need any teeth brushing because of the raw food and the added enzymes in their saliva. But I think that the only time I've seen buildup is at the top of those canines, because when they do have bones, that's one place that a bone doesn't get, at the top of the canines. So I think the licking action is where that helps.
Especially with, those senior dogs also who can't chew or have a bully stick or have raw bones,
Right.
Adding something like that. I mean, I've heard success stories of, people taking in rescue dogs with bad, dental health and bad oral health because, they've been living in a cage or, eating poop or whatever. And even just something as simple as giving them weekly bones to chew on and strengthening that enamel and strengthening, that gum health and massaging those gums has significantly improved their overall well-being and health and wellness.
Yeah. So it can be reversed with the right diet and the right bones and things to chew on. We also sell and highly recommend antlers. And there are multiple options for antlers, such as deer, elk, and moose. And they go in that order as far as hardness. So deer is the hardest, elk is second, moose is third. I do have...
And they're hypoallergenic.
They're hypoallergenic. They last forever. And the most pushback I get from customers with antlers is, my vet said my dog's going to break their teeth. So is there a chance that your dog is going to break their teeth on an antler? There's a chance. I don't know. It's one of those things.
I mean, my thought is... behind that is it's situational. I think your dog well enough to know what kind of a chewer they are. And if they're really aggressive, adamant, heavy chewer, you're probably going to have a higher chance of your dog breaking a tooth. If you had a moderate to light chewer, most likely, you're going to be okay.
I mean, their teeth can crack on anything, honestly.
Right. And you need to watch them regardless.
And honestly, if a tooth cracks, ultimately there's a density issue within the tooth itself, which is ultimately a bone. Right. So at the core of everything, there's something going wrong. It's one of those catch-22s, but they're worth trying. And a lot of times you'll find, we sell the elk antlers that are sliced, so they can get at the marrow, which is not as hard as the exterior.
Yeah. And which is more palatable and appealing to dogs anyways.
It is. And it'll be less harsh on the teeth, but still a lot of abrasive action, and that abrasion is really what cleans teeth. And then we recommend the raw bones, typically the femur bones, but even necks, like turkey necks, chicken necks for small dogs.
Why femur bones?
So the reason why the femur bones are the best is because they're the weight-bearing bones. So they are the densest bones and least likely to crack. Because any bone, even raw, can crack, but we hardly ever see it in raw bones.
Okay.
And you should never, never, never boil your raw bones and then give it to your dog, because that's what weakens the bone. That's when a bone is going to crack.
You can boil your dog's bones and make bone broth and only feed them the broth.
Yes.
Which is also good for dental health long term.
Yes.
We also sell, or they also have out there, ostrich bones as well. And those are kind of cool for those people who are a little bit more nervous or scared about giving just a raw cow, like femur or lamb bone or neck. Ostrich bones have that nice honeycomb like center. So they're not as dense and as strong as other mammal or mammal bones, and that nice honeycomb in the center also allows for some great contact for the gums and for the teeth, and is less likely to break your dog's teeth, and is a really nice, new, interesting, palatable tool to have in your tool chest to give your dog when they might be bored of other things, or if you're nervous about want to start giving your dog bones but are a little nervous.
Right. And then we do have, for lack of a better word, the greenie versions. We don't carry greenies, but we carry versions of greenies that have a higher quality ingredient panel. So we have a couple options there. We have Arc Naturals brushless toothpaste, which has an enzyme in there. They recommend one a day. It comes in multiple different sizes for multiple different dogs.
We have stuff you can add to the water.
So we have one from Arc Naturals that you can add to the water. Now, this is a hot button for me because there's a lot of water additives for dogs and cats on the market. Most of them are chemically preserved. And a lot of those chemicals are cancer-causing chemicals and not suitable for human consumption, one of which is sodium benzoate. So I caution our listeners very much, if you are using a water additive, please look at all the ingredients. Or if you'd like to use a water additive and you're not close to one of our stores and can get our recommended one, the only brand I have found so far is Arc Naturals. And same with toothpaste. Buyer beware. Most of them have a bunch of shit in it. And the only one that we have found that is relatively acceptable is Pura Naturals. And honestly, coconut oil is
Coconut oil with some crushed up eggshell.
Yeah.
It's so safe. It's good for your dog. It's not only good for direct contact for your dog's mouth and gums, but also really good for them to ingest it and for them to consume coconut oil.
There is one powder one that I think we're currently out of from 4Legger, the number 4 and Legger. I actually use a powdered toothpaste. I use a powder. I can show you what it is because I did it for quality of ingredients, and I did it for landfill reasons because all of those toothpaste tubes end up in a landfill.
And they're like super heavy plastic.
Yes. So the powder is also another option. And then real quick, the plaque off, which is a particular strain of seaweed that again works with the enzymes.
And is reabsorbed in the body and produced through the salivary glands.
Yep. And they do a powder that you can add to the food. It just takes a tiny bit, dog or cat. And then they also do a man-made chew that has the plaque off in it. So that in a nutshell.
Well, we haven't even talked about Rebecca's.
So please tune into our next episode because we are going to have one of our favorite guests, Rebecca Rose, who is the owner and formulator and biologist for In Clover. And she has an amazing dental health product that's just a powder you add to the food. That's pretty much what I use anymore.
Yeah.
People swear by
it.
We sell a shitload of it.
And we sell a shitload of it because people use it.
Yep.
We tell them, you know what, at least go through this one bottle and see how it goes. And people come back and buy it again.
Right. And for a repeat buy, that speaks volumes. So that episode will be on next. Is it going to be on
next Tuesday?
The immediately following this episode.
Right.
So reminder to our listeners, we are weekly now.
Right.
Thank you for all the 5-star reviews. Keep them coming. And
drop us a line. Let us know what you want to hear.
Yes.
We want to hear from you. We want to talk about things that you want to hear about.
Yep.
So we welcome feedback. We welcome constructive criticism. We welcome everything. We're super open and fun and honest and just, going through life just like anyone else.
All right, guys. Bye for now.
See you next week.